Depending on the region where you are getting the OnePlus 13, it can be half of the price of S25 Ultra. Historically, Samsung phones have had a better camera system than OnePlus, but this year, the gap is much closer. Also, OnePlus is using new battery technology, and even though the battery capacity of OnePlus is 6000 instead of 5000 mAh on the S25 Ultra, they both weigh the same. I am Mo, and today I decided to do a day in the life comparison of OnePlus 13 versus the S25 Ultra to compare battery life, camera, and performance. I started the day with both phones charged to 100%. The S25 Ultra takes an hour to fully charge, while the OnePlus only takes 35 minutes based on my tests. I went out to have coffee with my friend Hubert, who traveled to Vienna to meet me. The S25 Ultra's colors are more muted, while the OnePlus 13 has an orange tint, which is characteristic of OnePlus Pictures. That also applies to skin tones. OnePlus is working with Hasselblad for color science, while Samsung does it in-house. After coffee, we decided to take a short trip in the area and go to Marshfield Canal. I navigated the way with Google Maps on both phones. For video with the main lens, the colors are close enough. The OnePlus is a bit more vivid compared to S25 Ultra in this case. Both have a similar dynamic range too. One thing I noticed is that footage from S25 Ultra is less shaky compared to OnePlus 13. After an hour and 20 minutes, and forgetting to get off the bus multiple times, the S25 Ultra is now at 93% battery, while the OnePlus is at 95%. We then walked a bit in the area and decided to take a train back to the center of Vienna. The camera housing on OnePlus 13 is larger than that of the S25 Ultra, which sometimes makes it a bit tricky to hold the phone at right angles. Another random thing I prefer about the Ultra compared to the OnePlus is the range of compatible accessories. For example, my case here is from MacBag, and I can easily attach the phone to metallic surfaces since the case is magnetic. A lot of companies don't produce cases for OnePlus and only cover iPhones and Galaxies. I'll put the one I use in the description along with other accessories I use in this video. For video with the ultrawide lens, both create a very similar color tone, making it difficult to tell them apart. In fact, I had to look multiple times to make sure I hadn't accidentally copied the same footage twice. This is to be expected since most flagship phones create very detailed and high quality footage in daylight these days. For a picture with 5x zoom, the OnePlus managed the light of the train better, with less light leak compared to S25 Ultra. On the other hand, for this doggo, I feel the S25 Ultra had better autofocus, and the doggo is out of focus on OnePlus 13. Right now, the S25 Ultra is at 90%, while the OnePlus 13 is at 93% battery left. I decided to play YouTube on both phones until we arrive at our destination. By the time we reached the center of Vienna, the S25 Ultra was 4% behind the OnePlus 13. We went outdoors after arriving to buy some tissues and also to test the new skin tones on the S25 Ultra. Galaxy claimed that they have an amazing new skin tone technology for artificial lighting indoors. On this 5x zoom, I would say the claim is somewhat correct. I do feel that my skin tone looks more natural on the Galaxy S25 Ultra, especially compared to OnePlus 13. Switching to the main lens, the skin tone is also more consistent on the S25 Ultra, and I prefer it over the OnePlus 13. For walking at a normal speed, both do a great job at stabilization. By the way, if someone is from Vienna, please let me know in the comments why this flag looks like my grandpa's pyjama. We were lucky that it got sunny, so we were able to go out and take some pictures. The S25 Ultra camera housing has 2 telephoto lenses, while the OnePlus 13 has only one. I personally prefer when companies use one large telephoto sensor instead of 2 smaller ones. At 3x zoom, both did a great job, and the photo has tons of details. Again, the S25 Ultra is more natural, but OnePlus has a certain Hasselblad characteristic in its pictures. For 10x zoom, where the S25 Ultra switches to the other telephoto lens, they again both did a great job. The photo on OnePlus is more contrasty, while the S24 Ultra has more lifted shadows. For a longer zoom, like 50 times, there is no competition. The S25 Ultra did a much better job here, both in terms of details and processing, which looks simply better and less digital. We were getting hungry and decided to go have a burger at Swing Kitchen. Fun fact, when I was googling Swing Kitchen, Google Maps first suggested Swinger Kitchen, which was a slightly different place than I intended to go. It is Europe at the end, and people are a bit more open-minded here. The OnePlus footage here is more contrasty, which I personally prefer. For Galaxy footage, I usually decrease the shadows in post when I want to use them in my YouTube videos. We ordered two burgers, and the footage from the Galaxy has a slight banana effect, where the area surrounding the object in focus, like fries here, appears blurry. Even though the colors on OnePlus are not to my taste, the overall footage looks nicer. Also, the motion blur is much better on the OnePlus when I move my head, so you can take better shots of your kid or pet compared to the Galaxy S25 Ultra. After we left the burger place, the Galaxy S25 Ultra was at 75% battery, while the OnePlus 13 was at 83%. We then decided to track our walk in the city park with Komoot to run the GPS for a bit. The PWM on the OnePlus is much better than on the S25 Ultra for people who are PWM sensitive. Here, you can see the S25 Ultra refreshes the page at a lower frequency compared to OnePlus 13, which is not a good sign. The OnePlus 13 also has a brighter display with higher color coverage. The display is slightly curved, which people have a love-hate relationship with. The S25 Ultra is completely flat, which I personally prefer, and it has anti-reflective properties, meaning there is less reflection on the direct sunlight. The corners of S25 Ultra are a bit curved too, and let's not forget there is also a pen inside. On the other hand, the OnePlus 13 is more curved, and if you don't use a case, it is easier in my opinion to hold. Also, there is a silent button on the side which the S25 Ultra lacks. The main sensor of S25 Ultra is slightly larger than that of the OnePlus 13, which means the phone can gather more light compared to OnePlus 13. Another feature that makes the S25 Ultra more suitable for videography is support for the log format. To switch to log videography, you can simply turn on the log profile in the top left corner, and then you will notice that the colors look flat and muted, which is a good thing because it allows the phone to preserve highlights and shadows, making it easier to adjust them later in post-production. This will make your footage look much nicer when you add colors later. Adding colors can be as simple as applying a LOT, which is a lookup table, like I did here, and adjusting a few parameters. With the OnePlus 13's main camera profile, the footage usually doesn't look as pleasant. For flare management and dynamic range, both perform well in the normal profile, but the S25 Ultra applies less sharpening in this video, which I prefer. For architecture photos with zoom, the S25 Ultra produces a more natural look, but I also like the over-sharpened image on the OnePlus 13. It usually looks good on buildings. For colors, especially flowers, I noticed that the S25 Ultra is more saturated this time compared to the OnePlus 13. The OnePlus 13 preserved the tone of the flowers better. However, when flowers are part of a larger scene, the colors appear closer to each other. This is all part of how the phone manages colors and is related to scene optimization. For example, in this case, the OnePlus made the sky more orange and saturated compared to the S25 Ultra. So color differences depends on the scene, and sometimes one phone applies more saturation than the other. As another example, I do notice that the oranges appear more vibrant on OnePlus 13 compared to the S25 Ultra, as you can see here on the cafe sign. Also, this logo looks warmer and fluffier on OnePlus 13 compared to the S25 Ultra, but I think he looks great on both phones. There are also times, like in this photo with the main lens, where the colors are pretty much identical. Even though I generally prefer my skin tone on the S25 Ultra, I did notice that when exposed to bright sunlight during golden hour, the S25 Ultra's skin tone doesn't perform as well. The more contrasty and darker tone on OnePlus 13 works better in this case. We hopped on the metro to go to another part of the city. I also stopped Komoot on both devices, and as you can see, the distance and speed shown on both phones are very similar. Right now, the Galaxy S25 Ultra is around 7% behind the OnePlus 13. It was already dark outside, so I decided to take some night photos and videos for comparison. For the video with the main lens, to my eyes, it is clear that the S25 Ultra is doing a better job, but the white balance has too much green in it, while the OnePlus 13 does a better job here. In general, I find the OnePlus white balance to be more accurate at night. For example, here with the main lens, the OnePlus is warmer and the S25 Ultra is colder. If you look at the sign on top, it appears white on the Ultra, but if we zoom in, you can see that the neon sign is actually yellow, and the OnePlus got it right. Or here, the D1 sign is actually white, but on the S25 Ultra, it turns out blue with the zoom lens. Also, with the ultra-wide lens, the lamps on the S25 Ultra appears purple on the sides. That said, the quality of the ultrawide lens is better on the S25 Ultra. This is something you may not notice on a smaller screen, but when I viewed it on a larger monitor, I could see the S25 Ultra was doing a better job. Back to the colors at night, here is another example. As you can see, the lights are pretty orange, and I took this video with my Sony Alpha camera. But with a telephoto lens, the lights turn out yellow on the S25 Ultra instead of the orange color on the OnePlus 13. For the video with the telephoto lens, I prefer the one produced by the S25 Ultra over the OnePlus 13. The OnePlus 13 footage is more processed and contrasty, while the S25 Ultra has lifted shadows. Also, the light's flare is handled differently. Hubert had already gone home and it was getting late, so I got on the train and headed back. Before going home, the S25 Ultra had 45% battery left, while the OnePlus 13 had 54% battery left. I then decided to play chess on both phones for a bit. When I got home, it was already past midnight. I let both phones upload all the images and videos I took during the day to Google Cloud, and by the end of the sync, the S25 Ultra was 9% behind the OnePlus 13. Then, I decided to play Genshin Impact to push the phones to the limit. I played with high settings and 60 frames per second for around 20 minutes on each phone. Both handled the game without any frame drops, and they both reached around 34 degrees Celsius, which is 93 degrees Fahrenheit. One thing I noticed is that if I continue to push the phones, the OnePlus throttles at a higher temperature, while the S25 Ultra starts to throttle around 40 degrees Celsius. By the time I finished playing, the S25 Ultra was at 25%, while the OnePlus 13 was at 34% battery left. I slept through the night and woke up in the morning, and by then, the S25 Ultra was at 20%, while the OnePlus 13 was at 31% battery left. Both phones had around 4 hours and 20 minutes of screen on time. This is a slightly better result than the other tests I've done with the S25 Ultra, or rather, the OnePlus 13 didn't perform as well in this test. It could be due to a recent software update on the OnePlus 13, which may have had an effect. That said, the OnePlus 13 still came out on top in terms of battery life. In general, I recommend the OnePlus 13 if you want to save some money. The performance, thermals, and battery life on this phone are amazing. The camera is also great, but the color science may or may not be to your liking. The OnePlus display has better PWM and is 12-bit instead of 8-bit on Samsung, and the cherry on top is fast charging speed. The S25 Ultra, on the other hand, has a better camera system if you're a content creator, and historically, Samsung has provided better support with One UI 7. The display is anti-reflective, which is a great plus. Also, the phone is more widely available, the resale value is higher, and with all trade-in deals, sometimes it even makes financial sense to buy this phone. If you want to know how the S25 Ultra compares to the best camera phone on the market, which is the Vivo X200 Pro, you can watch this video next. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.